One day you will die, and sooner than you think, the world will move on without you. I know this because I am 89 years old, and I've watched it happen again and again. The greatest lie your generation believes is that your feelings are the center of the universe. Stay until the end, because the truth I'm about to share is either going to break you or completely set you free. When I was 24, I thought I was the protagonist of a movie. I thought that if I cried loud enough, the universe would pause to comfort me. I spent years paralyzed by my feelings. I stayed in bed because I didn't feel like working. I expected my boss to understand my mental state. I expected my friends to carry my emotional weight. I was a slave to a master that didn't exist, my own mood. I thought my feelings were facts. If I felt like a failure, I believed I was one. If I felt mistreated, I believed the world was cruel. I spent thousands of hours analyzing my inner child while my outer life was crumbling. I was waiting for a sign or a spark of passion before I committed to anything. I see you doing the same thing. You scroll through videos looking for motivation, hoping a stranger's words will make you feel like starting your business or feel like going to the gym. I wasted a decade waiting for the right mood to start my life. I was waiting for the sun to shine before I started walking. But here is what I know now, sitting in this chair with my bones aching. The sun doesn't care if you're cold. The rain doesn't care if you don't have an umbrella. The market doesn't care if you're tired. The world is a giant machine of cause and effect. It rewards action, not intention. It rewards results, not vibes. While I was busy processing my emotions, the men who didn't care about their feelings were building the world I now live in. They were building the hospitals I go to. They were laying the roads I drive on. They didn't feel like doing it either. They just did it. Your feelings are just chemical weather. They are clouds passing over a mountain. You are the mountain. Stop trying to negotiate with the clouds. The clouds will be gone by morning. But if you didn't plant your crops because it was cloudy, you will still starve in the winter. I have watched empires fall and technology change the face of the earth, but human nature never changes. To survive the next 60 years, you must understand that the silence you hear when you cry out is the world's only honest response. You might be searching for closure from an ex-lover or an apology from a parent who didn't love you right. You might be waiting for the system to admit it is unfair and hand you a trophy for your struggle. You will wait until you are 89, and you will die waiting. The world provides no closure. The only closure that exists is the door you shut yourself. We have to stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What now?" I see so many young people today trying to use their pain as a currency. You post about your struggles for likes. You trade your trauma for attention, thinking that because you have suffered, you are owed a seat at the table. But pain is not a deposit you put into a bank. You cannot buy a house with your struggle, and you cannot buy respect with your sensitivity. The only thing the world pays for is value. It is cold, yes. It is harsh, yes. But it is also fair. If you provide the bread, you get the coin. It doesn't matter if you cried while baking it. Comfort has become a slow poison for your generation. You have been told that you should never be uncomfortable. You've been told that if something feels off, you should quit. But everything worth doing feels off at the start. You feel anxious because you are avoiding the things you know you should do. You prioritize self-care over self-discipline, but self-care without discipline is just self-indulgence. It's rotting in a warm bath while your house burns down. The man who does only what he feels like doing will eventually find that he feels like doing nothing at all. He will lose his edge, then his will, and finally his soul. I remember the day it finally hit me. I was 52. I had lost a business I spent 15 years building. My wife looked at me with fear in her eyes. I had no savings. I sat on a bench in a park and I cried until my chest hurt. I wanted someone, anyone, to come by and tell me I was a good man. I wanted the universe to give me a sign that it wasn't my fault, that the economy was rigged, that I was a victim. I sat there for 4 hours. People walked by. They were busy with their own lives. Dogs barked. The sun set, turning the sky a deep, indifferent purple. A pigeon pooped on my shoe. Nobody cared. The trees didn't stop growing because I was broke. The traffic didn't slow down because my pride was hurt. In that moment of absolute, crushing loneliness, I felt a terrifying surge of power. It was the most important moment of my life. I realized that if the world didn't care about my failure, it also didn't care about my fear. If no one was watching, I was free to be whoever I needed to be to survive. I realized that my feelings were just a leash I had put on myself. I was the one holding the other end. I stood up, wiped my face with a dirty sleeve, and went back to work the next morning. I didn't feel motivated. I didn't feel inspired. I felt like a hollow shell. But I worked. That was the most successful year of my life. Not because I felt better, but because I stopped caring about how I felt. I realized that I could be miserable and productive at the same time. I traded my emotional intelligence for raw, stubborn persistence. I stopped looking in the mirror to see if I was happy and started looking at my hands to see if they were busy. You are afraid of failure because you think it will feel bad. You are afraid of rejection because it hurts your ego. You are so worried about your mental health that you've forgotten how to build mental strength. Strength isn't the absence of feelings. It's the ability to act as if they don't exist when there is work to be done. But look at me now. My ego is gone. There's no room for it in a body that's failing. All I have left are the things I actually did, the buildings I built, the children I raised, the promises I kept when I wanted to break them, the mornings I got out of bed when my heart was heavy enough to sink a ship. I don't remember how I felt on Tuesday, June 14th, 1974. I don't remember if I was depressed or anxious or triggered that day. But I remember that I went to work. I remember that I provided. I remember that I built a life. Stop checking your emotional pulse every 5 minutes. Stop asking yourself if you are happy. Happiness is a fickle friend who leaves when the room gets cold. Usefulness is a brother who stays forever. Build something. Take a risk. Tell the truth even when your stomach turns. The world is indifferent to your tears, but it bows to your strength. You can spend your life being a sensitive soul who achieves nothing, or you can be a person of action who feels the weight of the world and carries it anyway. The clock is ticking for both of us. Mine is almost at the end. Yours is just starting its loudest rhythm. Don't waste the beat waiting for a feeling that might never come. If you found even a grain of truth in these old words, stay with me. I am 89, and I have nothing left to gain from lying to you. There are things the history books won't tell you, but a man who has lived through the fire will. Subscribe to this channel, not for me, I don't need the numbers where I'm going, but for yourself. Don't let your youth be a story of what you felt like doing. Make it a story of what you did. Now, stand up. Wash your face. The world is waiting, and it doesn't care if you're ready. go anyway.